Welcome back. We're ready for our next signature and I've got it all laid out. We're going to use this as our base. Again, it's out of that 22 Maxi pad. And this is measuring in at 8 1/8 across by 8 3/4 in height. Now, these measurements going forward are going to be smaller because now they're on some inside pages and we have less to cover than we do when we're working on a panel. So these are going to come snug right up to this blue line, and we are going to be approximately an 1/8 of an inch off this edge. And we're going to need that because if I do any buildup, oh, I wanted to show you what else I did. I came in here and I stumbled across some white lace that I have, and it was just perfect. It reminded me of snowdrops. So I did cover the spine here and put in some lace, and I think that it just really helped to pick up some of the softer things that are going on. And I wrapped it here across the back as well. I just wanted to share that, so in case you've got some really sheer delicate lace that you could put on, or a ribbon, that's what I did. All right, base pages. Let's get back to this. We're 8 1/8 by 8 3/4. All right, so in the card pack is this big card that says "Let It Snow," and then when you open it up, you've got a little beautiful room here for hand journaling or some photos. So we're going to mat it on the back of the cardstock, and then this is going to come and tape right down here in this corner, so that then you can come in behind here and you've got a big room to tuck lots of things. And if you've got some smaller photos, you can still put them here on this side. So I'm only taping here and here. This is a single piece, so it is measuring in at 4 5/8 by 6 1/2 inches. And then even though this opens up like this, it's this inside that I want. So we're gonna glue this down or tape it down, whichever your preference, and it's going to go here. Now, I am not doing a magnet closure or anything because I don't want to interfere with you being able to tuck. So this is just going to be loose, open, like this. All right? So let's get this glued down. And I have about 1/16 of an inch all the way around. Maybe just a hair more. Okay. And then I'm going to take this, and I used what I refer to as skinny tape, because the less tape that you have to use or glue, the more pocket space you have, because that just took up 1/8 of an inch. However, you will feel the pressure of the tape as far in as 3/8 of an inch. So you want to make sure that you're careful about how much tape you use on any part of your project. And that goes for glue, because glue spreads. Tape is permanent. It stays right where you put it. All right, so there we go. And now we have ourselves a nice little tuck. So let's go ahead and let's move on to our first set of flaps. On the right side, we're going to be at 5 inches by 8 3/4, and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. I just want to bring this right up to the 1/2 inch score line and turn it over. Now let's move over here to the left side. This side is going to measure in also at 5 inches, scoring it at a 1/2 inch. And this is going to be 8 3/4 in your height. This one you're going to have a little bit of a pushback when you go to fold this over because you've already created some depth on the other side of this. So just make sure that, I got to make sure I see that tape. You know, I got to do some surgery here. Hold on here. I don't like seeing tape, and that's because of the pushback. There's this thickness here, and the paper, that's not coming up very well. Hold on. Come on this side, and it should release a lot easier. What's going on here? There we go. 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 Okay, so put that back. Then I'm going to tuck this back behind. And then I'm going to start this over. I'm just going to lay that right in front of that score line. Now I know I'm still going to have some pushback because there's a bit of a buildup here where this card is. So when this folds over, it needs to lay over comfortably. Okay, there we go. We have it done. Now, on the end, let's put our next set of flaps on, our next layer. So for the right-hand side, because this is going to open up right from the left side, it's going to open right side open, right over left. This is going to be 7 7/8 across by 8 3/4, and you're going to come in and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. And then this is going to wrap around. I want that hinge on the top, so I'm going to bring my work right up to the 1/2 inch score line, and it should just fold over. We're going to look, make sure I don't have a bunch of tape. Yay! Now let's go to the left side. We're going to put that panel in. This one is going to measure at 5 5/8 across by 8 3/4 in the height. You're going to come in at a 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. Bring this right up to the 1/2 inch score line and fold it over. Okay, so now I need to set magnets. And I'm going to try and get away with one right here in the middle. Now, if this doesn't work out, I will know here in a moment. Make sure you're all leveled up here, you're level there, and we've got that in place. Now, typically I would run another strip, but I'm going to wait to make sure that things are going to line up just fine before I do that. Okay, so let's get back onto the inside here. You have a piece of paper. It looks like this. The reverse side is that pink polka dot. This is the side we're going to play with. So I trimmed one side. When I trimmed for the right side, and I've got to put something there so I can see the edge of the paper. So when I trimmed for the right side, I started here and moved this way and made my tick mark. And then when I went to the other side, I started where, see where I cut right up that? I can hold it still. So then I started here and went this way and made my tick mark. So again, this would fit in here. Now you've got some little cards, cutout cards off of the 12 by 12, and I am going to set one up here. These are magnet closed. Oh, I haven't identified anything to put in here. Well, we can do that real quick because this is a quick signature. And then over here on this side, I use the hot air balloon. And again, it is a flip up photo magnet. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get these glued in. And then we're going to, I think, well, I'm going to go glue this to the front. And I think I'm, oops, come on, well. Let's glue this on. And I think I'm going to go ahead and I want to turn this over. I want to make sure that this isn't going to fight each other because I've got layer here and I've got layer here. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So, but I think I am going to use tape. So if I have to make any adjustments, I can. I don't want to use glue and then find out I'm ripping into this piece here. I'm just going to use 3 strips, 1 on each end, and then 1 right down the middle. Ouch! I just poked myself. All right. And then just about 3/8 of an inch down off the top. And then this is going to flip up like this. And we'll come back to that to cover the inside here in a minute. All right, so let's do this side. And then we're going to do this one. Then we'll get some tape on the back side of this. Let's see if I can do this again without jabbing myself. And again, about 3/8 of an inch off the top. All right, so let's take a look at what we have in our scraps. Now, this is the leftover piece you have from this trim. Don't use this yet. I will probably use this as a long tuck in one of the next signatures. So hold on to that. So we just need a couple here. Just going through and looking to see what I have. There's some pink on one side. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Doesn't take but just a second. Make my tick mark. Okay. See a long pencil mark right there. And I put blue on the bottom so that I didn't have pink on top of pink. Now I'll put the pink up here. Hold that down for that glue to capture. Okay, that's done. Now we'll go over here onto this side. And again, I'm going to use blue on the bottom. Oh, that's cute. Oh well. There's a pencil mark I don't need. I'm still going to put it down here this way, even though that moon is kind of cute. And then the pink polka dot up here at the top. Oh, that didn't cut very straight. Right here across the bottom. go. Come on, I gotta hurry up here. This glue is starting to dry. I don't want to have to put more on it, but I want it positioned the way it's, oh, for Pete's sake. All right, let's just give up and let's just put some more glue on this so I can maneuver it. Let's come down here. Oh, much better. Should have done that in the first place. Okay, then that one's done. All right, so now we're going to close those. And then on the inside here, we're gonna go to some blue Starry Sky paper. The reverse side of this has this little gingerbread house on it, but I don't want that image. I am going after the Starry Sky image. We'll go here on the inside of both of these. So we'll go ahead and glue them in. There we go. And then this side. And this, by the way, came out of the double-sided 12 by 12 pad, because you can tell there's images on both sides of this. Now, I also cut this crooked, but it's okay. I'm not going to stress over it. We crafters have ways of hiding our boo-boos, so we're going to do a long tuck. This is 1 1/4 inches by 8 3/4, and I am using skinny tape because, again, I want to maximize the depth for tucking in items. So I'm going to come right down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to follow this all the way up. And then I went to this piece of paper here and pulled out a couple of strips, and I cut them to fit. And that will go right here like this. All right, and then you have on this large cut apart sheet, this one, you've got this row of hearts. Pick some. I picked Let It Snow, and I'm just going to tack that down here in the center. We have a storm coming in tonight, and boy, I can sure hear the wind howling outside. We could lose power, so I better hurry up and get this done. Okay, be careful you stay away from this edge as much as you can. Set this in there. And now we're going to go do this side, and because I want all things equal, I did the same thing. So it's 1 1/4 inches by 8 3/4, and we're going to use the same polka dot trim. And then I had Hello Santa for my other one. Okay, ta-da. All right, now on these two sides here, you have a cute piece of paper, has a big balloon. We're going to play with this, so we're not going to use it right now, but the reverse side is what we're going to use, where it's got all the little hot air balloons. You're going to cut to fit. On both sides. So I noticed that when I trimmed my left side, what I had left fit perfectly on the right side, so there wasn't any further trimming that needed to be done. Now I am going to tape this piece in. It is a significant piece. There is a magnet behind it, and I don't want to mess this up if I have to do something with this. And I don't want to tattle on myself all the time, but I make design errors. I'm not perfect. So when I think about things, I think, oh, this will work. Wrong. So I will always tape so that I can remove the paper and save it rather than to ruin it. So this is going to come in here. Be careful of your score lines right here. Make sure that you're not on top of them. Stay away from them. That back there. And then in you have a different type of a cut apart that has a lot of these snow globes on it. I took the largest of the snow globes, I cut it out, I put it on some cardstock, and I ran 3/8 of an inch tape across the bottom, and I am just going to set it right here. So you've got a nice tuck for putting on items, but you still have this for photos. And yeah, you're going to cover up some images if you do, but the images will act as peekaboos, little things coming in behind your photos, if you think of it in that respect. Or just use it as a tuck page. I love this balloon. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to fussy cut that out when we get there. Okay, and then off that same cut apart sheet, I took a smaller snow globe. It's a little train. Again, I backed it onto some cardstock, put 3/8 of an inch tape across the base, and I'm just going to center that right here. So then you have a different type of tuck on these two pages. Now remember, it's right over left. Now we're going to do a tad bit of fussy cutting. All right, so this is the piece that's got the little snowmen, and across the top of that page is the dripping caramel. And then this will close. That same sheet, we have the tree, the candy tree, and we've got this arrow. So now on these, I cut them out. I backed them on a little bit of a thin cardstock, like a cereal box, putting them in here, and I put on some foam so there's a little bit of depth that's going on there on this page. And then the dripping caramel off the top. So that's going to be how this signature is going to come together. So let's go ahead and we're going to tape this piece here. What I'm gonna do, we're just gonna put this right there. Okay, I'm good to go. All right, so I am gonna secure these in here a little bit better. What am I looking for here? And I'm continuing to round my corners. All right, so I am going to glue this in up here. There we go. Okay, let's go over here and let's play with this side. Now, when I cut this, or when you cut this, you will notice that your paper has a tendency to kind of fray, whether you're using scissors or a cutting knife. So always burnish it down so that you're getting those fibers, those fray little pieces down back into place where they're supposed to be. Now we're going to glue around each of the openings really well because I don't want them popping up like this is doing right here. So I'm going to do this just as fast as I can. I think my little glue gun is about ready to dry up on me. Wow, that wind is really howling out there. Keep catching the edge. Alrighty. Now, I am going to turn this over and burnish from this side so that I don't tear into the openings that I just cut. Now I can close it and then burnish into the cut. Very nice. Okay, we are going to now do the treacherous pull the tape off the back of the foam pop-ups. They don't like to separate very easy. At least I don't find that they do. I think I got them all. Okay, and all you got to do then is set this right back where it came out of. Being careful not to just plop it down there because you're going to have to do a little bit of shifting to get this back into place. And now we're going to do that with the arrow. And we're going to do the same thing, and we're just going to very carefully set it back in there. And then the final piece is all this lovely dripping caramel. Start up here at the rounded corner and walk it across. Get back up there. There we go. We're done. We have it all finished. Okay, let's turn it over. Let's get some tape on the back side of this, and we'll get this in our album. Grab some 3/8. And we're going to burnish really good. Let's get this in our album. Just added so much. All right, so this is going to line up right to the edge, just like so. All right, I'm going to be brave again and try and just take it all off at the same time. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. But this can be more painful if I don't set it in the right way. Okie dokie. Right at the very edge. There we go. Those air pockets out of there. Okay, I think we've got her done. There we go. I love this. All right, we'll see you on the next build. Bye-bye.